Hello, everyone. It's my hope that you are well and that you are doing good. Welcome aboard to Finance Focus with Andrew, a platform where we always engage in matters that get to enhance our financial literacy. We try to remit our conversation to matters that are concerned to our personal finances. And of course, personal finances, is everything and anything that touches on your money, right from income to the point of spending. Yeah? So we discuss anything and everything that touches on your money. So welcome to this ride. Yeah? If you are coming across this channel for the first time, you're much welcome. Consider subscribing and turning on the notification so that you don't get to miss any any on any of our financial tips that we give on this channel. So feel much welcome and welcome aboard to today's discussion. Now, on our today's discussion, I believe that it is always good to listen to different people's points of view. Especially those people who might be experts in some given fields. So that's why I always make efforts to get a copy of the Saturday Nation, because there is always a page for personal finance matters where different people give their scenarios on situations that they are facing or on issues that they are currently facing, their financial status, or dilemma that they have found themselves in, and they get to ask for experts financial advice, and of course the expert gets to give their view on the matters that gets to be raised. And today we have a very interesting story of a 36-year-old man, and I just want to read the scenario that this guy is facing, and the expert advice that was given. But you can also feel free to give your views on the matter. And here we go. This is the dilemma. The guy says, I'm 36 and I have inherited 5 acres of land. I want to sell for. Is this the right move? And goes forward to give a deeper explanation, and says, I'm 36 years old, married with 2 children who are in public primary school. I'm the last born in a family of 5. We live in upcountry. My wife works as a primary school teacher, while I work for a local dairy company as a milk collector. Currently, our combined family earnings are about 40,000 per month. We pay rent of Kenya shillings 10,000. Food and groceries we spend 12,000. For water we spend 600. Kenya Power we spend 1,000 bob. Saloon, I'm assuming it's for the wife, 5,000. Pocket money 3,000. Each circle savings 5,000. I recently inherited 5 acres of family land, and I'm thinking of selling for at 1.5 million per acre, then build a home at the remaining 1 acre. I would also like to set up a modern zero grazing farm, a chicken farm, and have some other investments because land does not appreciate very well in our area. I would also like to secure my children's education. I would also like to secure my children's education. Is selling the land the right idea? What do I do? What do I invest in? I don't want to be the village example of a fool who sold all his land and misused all the money. Uh, I can see that the guy is already having ideas of what we call a windfall. He already have that mentality that he is already aware that he can sell this land and get to waste all the money. At least he has that in mind, because if you get to reflect and take your mind back to your village, there is there is that person that you can think of that they got to dispose an asset, most probably land, and after disposing it, of course, they did not make best use of the funds that they got from the land or from the sale of whatever asset, and that is what we call misusing a windfall. And it's unfortunately that if you get to misuse a windfall, you'll live the rest of your life regretting, because you'll be left at a position where you don't have money, but it will be so bad because you'll be aware that you wasted your money, and you had some money, you had an opportunity to change your life, but you ended up wasting the money. So it is very important to know how you handle a windfall. And I think I have done a video on some of the strategies that you can use to handle a windfall. So if you have not come across that video, you can go checking for it, and you can see some of the strategies that you can apply so that if case you get to come across a windfall, you'll not end up wasting the money, because all you'll be left with is a regret. And I like that this guy already has that in mind. They are aware that they can sell that land and end up wasting that money. So let's see what the experts had to say. But let's just see what the expert had to say. Those who are watching, you can keep your views coming on the matter. We are talking about a dilemma of someone who is thinking of selling an ancestral land and get to invest in dairy farming. Now they're asking whether it is a good idea. So according to you, is it a good idea to sell the land and get to invest in dairy farming, or they should hold the land and continue having it, despite being aware that the land does not appreciate at a good rate in the area where they are situated? But as I wait to hear your views, let me get forward and read the expert advice, their take, what they had to say about the case. And here we go. So the expert says, looking at your income levels versus your ambitions and plans, I assume you want to accomplish all your desires from proceeds of the land sale. Is selling land a bad thing? Yes and no. So is selling land a bad thing? The expert says it is. Yes, it is a bad thing, and no, it is not a bad thing. Let's hear why. It all depends on different factors, such as your needs, aspiration, and the proceeds, and what the proceeds will be used for. So selling land is not a bad idea, but it all depends, number one, with the plans that you have in mind, the aspirations that you have, and how you'll get to spend the money that you get from selling that land. So we cannot rule out and say that selling land is a bad thing, or it is not a bad thing. It is conditional. It all depends with what we will do with the proceeds of the land. So if you use them well, it is a good thing. If you use them bad, of course, it will be a bad decision. So it will be a bad decision, and of course, you'll get to regret for that decisions that you made. Unfortunately, maybe for the rest of your life. Let's continue reading the expert advice. Now, that inheritance has its challenges in some communities, especially due to the sentimental value families attach to land and inheritance. You may have inherited it. You may, you may, you may have inherited, but selling it can trigger disputes and conflict within nuclear and extended family, which is very true. We all agree that selling land, especially in our African communities, sometimes comes with a lot of challenges, and it is not seen as a good thing. In fact, the idea of selling land in the African communities, regardless of what you need to do with the money, or regardless of the plans you have with the money, it is first thing is a bad thing before you can convince anyone else that selling land is a good thing. And it is the same thing that the expert is trying to derive here, that you need to consider the family setup. You don't end up selling land that you are going to invest, and end up falling apart with everyone in the family. So maybe the investment might be worth, but it will cause more social harm than the financial gain that it will bring true. So the expert says, sell only if there is a consensus in your immediate family. If you sell the 4 acres, the remaining acre might not be enough to accommodate a home, a zero grazing farm, and a poultry keeping. That is true. Instead of instead of selling 4 acres at a go, only sell a part of the land, and then sit down with your wife and discuss how you can use the funds to secure a few investments and maybe to start building a home. Your current source of income is from the dairy farming sector, which makes you more conversant with how the sector works. Which dairy breeds will be manageable for you, and the output you should expect. You don't have to start big, but you must start well. This means that the right dairy cow, the right feeds, and the right structures. The same goes with the chicken. Do it professionally by building proper chicken housing, having the right chicken accessories, vaccinations, and the right breed. So uh, the expert insists on the importance of doing things in a professional way. You don't sell land and get to farming, and do it in a Kenyaji way. So if you decide to dispose the land, ensure that you'll do it in a professional way, so that you'll get returns that will outdo the returns that the appreciation of the land if you had decided to retain the land. Now let's go on. A clear plan is essential if you want to accomplish your goals. If you sell 2 acres, for instance, you can fetch 3 million. Assuming you sell at the said price of 1.5 million each, you can set aside an education fund for your children, because one of the goals was to secure their children education, and lock it in an interest earning account to safeguard yourself for their future academic pursuits, which will require more funding. For instance, if you put 1 million in an account that earns an average of 13% for about 10 years, and reinvest all interest there, this investment could grow to more than 3 million. So this guy is bringing the idea that now one of the purpose of selling the land was to secure the children's education. So the first thing that they should do is to put a plan that will ensure their children's education is secured, as it was part of the plan. And he recommends them, if they sell if they sell 2 acres of land at 1.5 each, and get 3 million, they can pick 1 million shillings and deposit in an account, giving them a 13%. Ensure that all the interest is not withdrawn from that account. They keep on reinvesting. And of course, the reason as to why he insists on reinvesting the interest rate, we all know that it is for the purpose of compounding. Compound interest is one of the factors that you need to explore if you have not yet explored. It is the eighth wonder of the world. And if you give money time and you give compound interest time, you will be amazed by what time and compound interest can do. Now let's continue. So part of the remaining 2 million can be used to put up an infrastructure in the dairy and poultry business you are aiming to start. Do proper market research to know the actual cost of starting List all your anticipated expenses and market rates. What the structures will cost, what a good dairy breed will cost, the number of chickens to start with, veterinary and related agro costs. Start with the budget ceiling of 1 million, but aim at reducing costs as much as professionally manageable. In fact, by squeezing your cost, you might be able to acquire a tuk-tuk or a tricycle to use your milk deliveries. Many at times we get into projects, but we don't think about the whole process of the project. Someone might tell you that you want to start a project. You just start. You get to discover the cost that you spent on the way. But I don't think that is a good idea because once you start a project and the project stalls halfway, you'll not realize the benefits that you wanted from the project. So don't start a project if you have not projected the full cost of that particular project that you want to start. For whatever project that you might be willing to take, ensure that you do a proper budgeting and try to foresee all the costs from the start of the project to the end. Ensure that you start a project that you'll be able to accomplish, because if you do not accomplish that project, you'll not get the financial gain that you might have that you anticipated, and of course the resources that you put into that project will end up being idle assets that are not generating any income to you, which is not a so wise financial decision. So whenever you want to take a project, ensure that you try and do all the projections on terms of money that you might spend on that project. How much will it cost you? And are you able to take the project financially? So that if you don't have the financial capability to undertake the project, maybe you can stall it for some times in future. That is after you have gathered enough to start the project. So the expert insists that this guy should first do the total budgeting on the financial implication of starting the dairy farming and poultry keeping business. Now, let's continue. Now, spread the remaining amount in diversified investment, including security markets, circles, and life policy. The second option now even though the guy was disposing land to venture in dairy farming, the expert brings a very important concept of something that we call passive income. You see, if you are doing dairy business, dairy farming business, it means that you have to be there every time for that business to run. But it would be important if you have some money aside or some passive income aside. That is income that is the income where you don't need to be engaged actively, and that is why the expert is recommending that part of the money should go towards security markets, circles, and life policy. Those are good examples of passive financial instruments. Uh, the expert continues to say that the second option will be to hive off a part of it. For example, 250,000 to set a simple 2-bedroom temporary mabati house into your farm, where you can move in to save on rent, as well as to have closer management of your dairy and poultry business. This extra relief, of course, the guy said that they are using a rent of 10,000. So constructing a simple mabati house and they get to move in will ensure that they save an extra 10,000. Now, this will receive an extra 10,000, which you can direct to a monthly circle savings for a total of family monthly circle savings of 15,000, and that is 10,000 plus 5,000 that they are currently saving in the circle. The remaining 750,000 can be diversified in stocks, money market fund, and a base circle shares investment. Consult a professional investment advisor to guide you in these processes to avoid losing money and bad investment in the security markets and circles. The expert brings a very important point here, that we all need to think about. If you are making an investment in the financial markets, one of the things that you need to do is research. And if you are not well informed, or you cannot be able to conduct a good research by yourself, you can always engage a financial expert, because you might think that you are investing in a circle, you are investing in stocks, you are investing in unit trust like the money market funds, but what you end up doing is losing all your money. So even before you invest in the financial markets, ensure you have done a proper research to avoid losing your money. In case you are not able to do the research by yourself, always ensure to engage a finance expert. Now, the guy concludes by saying, as your farm comes up, your food and groceries budget will start to decrease. Encourage your wife to enroll for further studies to boost her income earning capacity. In your budget, you have 4,000 that is unaccounted for. Find out where it is going. In a year, this amounts to nearly 48,000. Now, the guy says that as the guy supports the farm to grow, the wife should also consider furthering their studies, because they have said that they are primary school teacher. Maybe furthering their education will ensure that they get a fatter check. That is, they get a better salary that might boost the family financial status. He also noted that this guy, or the family budget that the guy provided, has 4,000 that was not accounted for, and he gives the figure in terms of an annual figure. And the reason why they are doing he does this is to show how 4,000 in a month is 48,000 in 1 year. But if you are not very keen, you can only think about it as 4,000 per month, but that figure comes to 48,000 per year. So when you think about it in terms of accumulated figure of 48,000, you might see, you can see that it is money that is making sense, because if you think of 4,000, you can see it is some small money, and you don't really have to account for it. But if you get to think about it on a monthly basis, you get to discover that it is quite some huge amount that need to be accounted for. So that is it. That was the financial expert take. So we can see that the dilemma that we wanted to solve was whether this guy should sell the land and venture into dairy farming. And we said the decision to sell the land is both good and a bad idea. And we have seen that it all depends with how they are going to spend the money. If they spend the money wisely in accordance to the plan that they had of establishing an dairy farming, and it becomes successful, the guy will not even remember that they sold some land. But if they sell that land and they get to misuse the money, of course they will get to regret for the rest of their life, and it will always sound to be a bad decision. So that is it for the dilemma we had for the day. As you watch this video, you can continue giving your views. What do you think about it? Is it strictly that you should not sell land to invest somewhere else, or it depends with the purpose of the money, of what you need to do, or what's your take? Let me hear your take. Otherwise, of course, we'll be doing more of these lives to get to hear experts' advice, because it is very important to listen to other people's of view, other people points of view. You might think that you know it all until you listen someone who has a totally different idea of something that you are thinking about. So otherwise, that is the end for this session. I expect to see some feedback on the comment section. Tell us, is it a good idea to sell land? Is it a bad idea to sell land? So continue tuning in to the channel, subscribe, turn on the notification button, so that you can be informed whenever we are giving any financial tip or any financial session, so that you don't get to miss. You can also share the message to your friends so that we can take this financial literacy gospel to as far as we can be able to do so. Otherwise, see you in the next session. Thank you.